In this video, I'm going to tell you the difference between the students who take 4.5 to 6.5 bands and the students who take 7 to 9 bands in the IELTS speaking test. But before I start the video, please watch the full video and subscribe my YouTube channel. So first of all, as all of us know that there are three parts of the IELTS speaking test. Part 1, Introduction, Part 2, Cue card, and Part 3, Follow-up questions. In Part 1, the students who take 4.5 to 6.5 bands, what they do? They just memorize the answer of the different questions. Because in Part 1, the students can predict what the examiner is going to ask in the test. Because in this part, the examiner can ask the students about their hometown, their favorite activities, or what they do in their free time. So most of the students try to memorize the answers of these questions and they take the IELTS speaking test. When the students try to memorize the answers of the questions, they can't speak fluently and naturally during the test. The examiner gets the feel that the students are confused or they can't speak in Part 1. Secondly, the students who take 4.5 to 6.5 bands, they try to give long answers of the questions in Part 1. For example, if they were asked, how many family members do you have? So most of the students try to give the long answers and include extra things in the answer of questions of this type. They will say, I like my family, I have a big family, I have 7 members in my family. So there is no need to include extra things in the answer of this question. They have to answer directly and fluently. Thirdly, the students who take 4.5 to 6.5 bands, they follow some techniques. And as I said earlier, that most of the students try to memorize the answers of the different questions. They don't have any idea to express themselves. So they apply some tricks and techniques to answer the questions asked by the examiner. Whereas the students who take 7 to 9 bands, they speak fluently. They speak with the examiner like a friend, sitting in a hotel and gossiping each other. They give the feel to the examiner that they are feeling very happy and they are comfortable while taking the IELTS speaking test. In Part 1, the students who take 7 to 9 bands, they answer the questions directly. For example, if they were asked, how many family members do you have? They will answer, I have 5 family members. They will not say that I have a nice family, or I have a big family, or I go with my family in the park. They don't make their answers lengthy, but they focus on the questions asked by the examiner. I hope that you have understood the difference between the students who take 4.5 to 6.5 bands and the students who take 7 to 9 bands in part 1. Part 2. In this part, the examiner shows a cue card and a topic is written on the cue card. The students have to speak for 2 minutes and 1 minute is given to think about the topic, or they can make notes on the given topic, and the examiner will also give a paper and a pencil to make notes on the given topic. So the students who take 4.5 to 6.5 bands, what they do in part 2, they just follow the points. If any student has written 4 points, he will speak on those 4 points step by step. And for each point, he will speak only 2 to 3 sentences and then he will stop. Secondly, those students who take 4.5 to 6.5 bands, they lack the ideas. They just memorize some sentences and try to repeat these sentences in each part of the IELTS speaking test. Even they don't know anything about the tenses. These students most of the time concentrate on the present, past and future tenses. In IELTS speaking test, you have to use a variety of tenses. You can't predict that the topic given in part 2 is just related to present, past or future tense. The students who take 4.5 to 6.5 bands, they use some techniques in part 2. They show that they are clever and they can handle the cue card very easily. But they don't know that the examiner is very experienced and he knows their tricks and techniques. Such students most of the time follow the techniques which are told by their trainer during the practice test. And they do the same in the real IELTS speaking test. And in the result, they get 4.5 to 6.0 bands. The students who take 4.5 to 6.5 bands, they lack vocabulary. They don't know the idioms and phrases. They don't know the complex and compound sentences. And even they don't know how to combine 2 sentences while they are speaking. The students who take 7 to 9 bands, they handle the part 2 in a totally different way. They follow the main topic. They speak fluently. They don't speak out of context. And their whole speaking test is based on their vocabulary and their knowledge. They speak naturally. They speak with the examiner as examiner is their friend and they are sitting in a park or in a hotel. They don't give a feel to the examiner that they are taking the test. Those students who take 7 to 9 bands, they also follow the main points, but they have enough to say about each and every point. The students who take 7 to 9 bands, they have a wide range of vocabulary. They know the use of tenses. They know how to use the complex and compound sentences while they are speaking. Part 3, is the follow-up question section. In part 3, the students who take 4.5 to 6.5 bands, they try to give short answers of the questions, but the examiner wants to know the ideas of the students. The examiner wants to check the vocabulary and pronunciation of the students, but the students are in the habit of just memorization and they can't express themselves, and in this way the examiner can't impressed by them. The students who take 4.5 to 6.5 bands, they don't have any ideas what they have to say in the answer of any questions. For example, if the examiner asks the question, what are the advantages of online shopping? These students most of the time don't give the answers of the questions like this, because they feel that they have no experience of online shopping and they cannot speak on this topic. So most of the time they don't give the answer of any question, and in this way their IELTS speaking test will not up to the mark. And this happens only when the students have no ideas in their mind, and in this way they can't express themselves before the examiner. And sometimes the students who take 4.5 to 6.5 bands, when the examiner asks any question to them in part 3, they say, sorry, I don't know, I have no idea about it. In this way the examiner gets the idea that the students can't speak, they don't have any ideas, and they are just in the habit of memorizing the answers of the questions and they can't express themselves. On the other hand, the students who take 7 to 9 bands, they answer each and every question in part 3. For example, if the examiner asks them, what are the advantages of online shopping? They will answer the examiner, even though they don't have any experience of doing online shopping, but they try their best to convince the examiner by their answer. They can answer the question like this: I have no experience of online shopping, but I think that the online shopping is becoming very popular nowadays, and they continue their answer. The students who take 7 to 9 bands in part 3, they follow the grammar rules. They know the knowledge of tenses. They know the compound and complex sentences, and they can speak very fluently and in a friendly way before the examiner. And lastly, the students who take 7 to 9 bands in IELTS test in part 3, they use a wide range of vocabulary. They know the idioms and phrases, and they know how can they use different words in different sentences in different situations. I hope that you like the video. If you like the video, please subscribe my YouTube channel.